Okay, we're recording. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks so much for joining us here. We're in Raleigh, North Carolina, where it is cold and rainy. Well, I guess warm and rainy, and there's a tornado watch. So hopefully things are nicer where you are. We're going to talk to you today about our awesome conservation adventures. I am Bethany. I am the marketing communications person here at Broadreach. So if you get emails from us or follow us on social media, that's me. Also, we have speaking with us today two of our experts. Chelsea is the program director for our Yucatan trip, and Savannah, who is the program director of our Costa Rica Sea Turtles trip and our Ecuador trip, among others. But as far as the ones we're talking about today. If you're not familiar with Broadreach, we've been around for over 30 years now, running adventures, awesome summer adventures for middle school and high school students. And our trips are all focused on marine biology, scuba diving, sailing, conservation, and veterinary medicine. So if you look at this map here, these are the little dots represent our trip locations for this summer, and the ones in the lime green are our Costa Rica, Ecuador, and Yucatan trips. So those are the three conservation trips we'll be focusing on today. Talking a little bit about Broadreach conservation trips in general, all of our Broadreach trips really kind of have some kind of a slant on conservation as far as being a responsible or respectful traveler, not harming the ecosystems that we're visiting. But our conservation trips in particular, they really aim to give students hands-on experience and insight into what it is to be a conservation scientist. So doing field research techniques, things like that, with marine mammals, birds, reptiles, other kinds of wildlife. Um, they focus on scientific field research techniques and how to address conservation problems through research, through policy, et cetera. And in addition to that, they also provide opportunities to build soft skills, which are really important, like leadership, resilience, kind of going out of your comfort zone. Um, Also give opportunities to create friendships. It's really a great chance for students to bond with other students who are interested in the same things that they are. So maybe in their school, their regular life, they don't have a lot of other students who want to do conservation work or interested in those things. So it's cool for them to be able to bond based on those common interests. They also get to explore places off the beaten track. So obviously, Costa Rica is kind of a big tourist location. So is Yucatan, Ecuador to some extent. But the places that students get to go on these conservation trips are really difficult to go to if you're not doing um, a trip through Broadreach. And all three of these conservation trips also travel to multiple locations, so they're not just set in one city or in one place. So we're going to focus, I mentioned before, we have three conservation trips, one to Yucatan, one to Costa Rica, and one to Amazon and Galapagos. So our program directors are kind of going to go through those and give us a little bit more details. First up is our Costa Rica trip.
Sweet. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Savannah. So our Costa Rica Sea Turtle and Marine Conservation Program is 14 days. So it's on the shorter end of some of our programs, which is really nice. We offer 3 sessions for this program. You can see them there on the screen. There's availability still in all of the sessions. And then all of these programs get academic credits. This one is no different. So it's 2 credits in natural sciences. There aren't a lot of prerequisites to come onto this program, just a love for being outdoors and sea turtles. And then the cost below there is $5,680. As Bethany mentioned, we get to move around quite a bit on our programs. So we fly into San Jose, the city, and then we travel directly to Sarapiqui, which you can see Bethany scrolling over there, where we get to kind of have our introduction to ecology and start our research practice. We'll then move on to Pequare, which is a reserve where we start our sea turtle research. It's a pretty big research station, and we'll start our sea turtle ecology lessons there before moving on to Cajita, just down the coast a little bit. We work with another sea turtle conservation facility there in sort of a different way that I'll get to in a little bit. And then after that, we head back to San Jose, where we eventually fly out of. During this time, we stay in a variety of smaller hotels. And then when we're at Pecuare, the big research station, we'll stay in some dorms there, which is probably the most different type of living arrangements your student will have on this program. And then if you've ever been to Costa Rica before, you know that it's a lot of rice and beans, which are super tasty. Typically, it also means that there's some type of meat option and vegetables. And Costa Rica has a ton of fresh fruit. It can, cater to vegans, vegetarians, gluten-free. So there are options there. And then a lot of our meals are either out at restaurants or provided by our outfitters. So there's no cooking on this program. And then the meat of the program is obviously our community service and the conservation activities we'll be doing. So for community service, we have it so that students are gaining 10 hours on this program. It's sort of wrapped up in things that we are already doing. The data collecting on the hatchlings and checking nest health, reviewing camera trap photos because there's usually hundreds of them. And then we often get to do some like trail maintenance as well, which is fun. And then sort of what I alluded to, our conservation activities. When we're at Pecuare, we'll get to do lots of sea turtle patrols. These usually happen at nighttime. We're checking to look for moms and make sure they're nesting in correct locations. And then they have baby sea turtles that they are helping before they release them back to the ocean. So we'll be collecting biometric data on them and sort of learning, monitoring, and survey techniques that they use at the beach. And then when we move to Cajita at the other sea turtle conservation organization, we'll actually use a different methodology of bringing the sea turtles back to the organization where we keep eggs in coolers, which is a super cool other way to see it. And then they'll get to do some reforestation there and beach cleanups as well. So it's really great to get a broad idea of research with sea turtles. And then outside of those animal and conservation activities, we get to do some fun adventure activities like rafting, zip lining. We'll get to explore the almost pristine Cojita National Park and also do a variety of guided day and night hikes, which are great for learning more about the ecosystem there.
Awesome. And now we've got our Yucatan Ocean Conservation Program in Mexico. Chelsea, can you talk about that one?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. So this is an 18-day one session program. So this is for students who are already open water certified um, and looking to get some college credit while learning about conservation in Yucatan. Um, So for this program, you're actually going to be flying into Cozumel and flying out of Cancun. So we'll start in Cozumel and that will be our base. And we'll be there for the duration, for the vast majority of the program. That's where we'll stay in a lovely villa. And most of our meals when we're here will be cooked or we'll be dining out. They do have American staples here, but we'll also be eating plenty of tacos. And it's very easy to cater to gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian, vegan, which is great. And then when we get to Cancun, we'll be staying in small boutique hotels on the mainland and traveling around a little bit more. And the meals here will all be out. So students get to experience local restaurants. This program has 8 hours of community service. This will be through citizen science data collections, beach cleanups of marine and plastic debris. And we have a great app where our students can log this. And we can kind of share that at the end of summer, which is really cool. So you can see all our beach cleanups around the world. And then in terms of conservation activities, we plant mangroves. We go on a night watch to see the sea turtles. We do a coral restoration course. The students will get a certification with that. We learn about scientific diving techniques. We'll use some coral watch slates so we can kind of see what damage and if there is damage on the corals. And again, working on those beach cleanups, ever bringing in that sustainable diver in the mindset. And then in terms of adventure activities, the highlight of the program for a lot of students is the snorkeling with whale sharks. But we also get to explore the Mayan ruins in Chichen Itza. We take a surf lesson. We get to go snorkeling in cenotes. We might rent some bikes in Valladolid and travel around. So the options are all available to us.
And there's a specialty, a special Broadreach specialty that they'll get also, Chelsea. Is that right?
Yes. So we are creating our own specialty for diving for this program. So stay tuned about that once we release it. But this will be the only Broadreach program where we'll offer this conservation forward dive specialty.
Exciting. All right, and finally, our last one. Savannah, can you talk about our Amazon and Galapagos trip?
Of course. So as Bethany mentioned, the Amazon and Galapagos Eco Adventure is the last program that we'll go super in depth on today. It's 20 days long, so it's quite a bit longer compared to 14 days, which is great because you're able to get, a more in-depth look into various sectors of conservation. We do only have one session available this summer with 2 spots left. So if you're interested, I encourage you to enroll soon. Much like our other programs we've mentioned, it also gets 2 college credits. Our research station outfitter requires that the students have the yellow fever vaccine just because of mosquitoes there. And then it is for ages 15 and up, which is also our outfitters kind of stipulations. And the cost is $7,680, as you can see down below. This one, again, we move around quite a bit. We'll fly into Quito and then pretty much immediately head over to our partner in the cloud rainforest in El Chaco, where again, we'll kind of start off our journey of learning biology of the local area. The cloud rainforest is really unique, but then we'll hike up to the Amazon basin. We get to stay at a super remote research station to start out, where we get to live in a rustic accommodation, usually sort of like cabin style, and then we'll move back down to the lower rainforest. We'll go to Tiputini to our bigger research station that we stay at, which includes research station dorms. And then we'll head back to Quito for just a little bit to get our cultural segment in before we head to the Galapagos, where we stay in a small hotel. All of our meals during this time are generally catered by outfitters. And then once we get to the Galapagos, we'll have some meals out at restaurants as well. So Ecuadorian food, similar sort of like South American cuisine, rice, beans, some sort of meat, usually a veggie, and then salad as well. In the next slide. Thank you. And like the other 2 programs, this also gets community service hours. And again, it's sort of wrapped up in the conservation activities that we're doing. So we estimate about 15 hours on this program. Projects, again, typically vary, but usually we count as helping the researchers at Tiputini with their projects, collecting data from camera traps and kind of sifting through that. They also get to do some trail maintenance and kind of help out with some of the more dilapidated areas that may be cropping up in the jungle, which is super cool. And then it kind of rolls over into our conservation activities, which are numerous and diverse on this program. There's like the wildlife. So what's really cool is that we get to visit 3 different ecosystems that are all their own biodiversity hotspots, where we get to work with camera traps. We'll get to do bird banding. In the Galapagos, we'll go on boat trips. We'll do piranha fishing, hikes to special locations. Obviously, a lot of plant and animal ID, and then just learning general conservation techniques and problems. And then outside of that, we'll get to do lots of hiking, which is super fun. And then when we're in the Galapagos, we'll be able to snorkel. Oftentimes, this is with turtles and fish and sea lions. We'll usually visit a hot springs. And then just being in the Amazon rainforest, living in there is sort of an experience in and of itself, where we'll get to do lots of day and night hikes, and explore everything from, nests to bioluminescent plants.
So cool. All right, we do have 2 other high school trips. They're technically marine biology trips, but they have kind of a conservation slant. Um, Chelsea, can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so our Azores Whale Dolphin Adventure is a 16-day non-diving program. So you'll work with marine biologists in the largest marine protected area in the North Atlantic and Europe. Students will learn how this whaling community changed to be one of the world's prime whale and dolphin hotspots, gaining practical experience in population dynamics, migration patterns, and behavior of sperm whales, which are a resident there. And students will also be able to learn about the 28 different species of cetaceans they have there whilst visiting 2 islands. And then our other program we have is our Curacao Marine Biology Adventure. This is a 20-day land-based program. We offer the open water and advanced course for scuba diving. Students stay at the largest field station in Southern Caribbean, and students on this program will learn about conservation techniques with organizations studying corals, lionfish, and sea turtles.
Awesome. So now that we've learned about our 3 conservation trips, I've got this kind of at a glance little chart, and I will send, I've got a PDF of this that I'll send out with the recording of the webinar as well, just to give you kind of compare and contrast of these 3 trips. As you're looking at them and deciding which one might be the best for you, there's some questions to think about. Whether, first of all, do you prefer a land-based program, looking more at land animals, in which case Costa Rica sea turtles is a great one, or if you want really more ocean focused, like the Yucatan trip. And then Ecuador is kind of a combination of the two. If you're open water certified already and you really want to incorporate scuba diving into your conservation studies, then our Yucatan trip is great for you. Do you want to experience multiple ecosystems like ocean, rainforest, and islands? Then Ecuador is perfect. If you want a shorter introduction to conservation fieldwork, that Costa Rica sea turtles trip is 14 days, whereas the other 2 are a bit longer. So that might be a good thing, a good program for you. Or if you want a longer adventure with varied research techniques, then Ecuador, since it is 20 days, you're able to get into some more of those different research techniques in that trip. All right, so now thinking overall to summarize, Costa Rica might be right for you if you want an
Yeah,
immersive, sorry.
no, you're great. Costa Rica might be the best program for you if you really want to immerse yourself into field biology. In Costa Rica, it's a really great place to go, explore the natural land. And then if you do prefer a land-based program, we don't go into the ocean much during this program, so it is pretty solidly land-based. And if you love wildlife conservation and especially sea turtles, since they are the focus.
Look at those little sea turtle babies.
And you should choose our Yucatan trip if you are passionate about marine conservation and scuba diving, and you are open water certified already and want a mix of ocean-based and conservation policy. It's great for students who are interested in how laws, regulation, and advocacy shape marine conservation.
And then if you'd like to go to Ecuador, you're probably interested in a broader conservation research across a bunch of different ecosystems. It's great for if you want a jungle and ocean exploration and just love adventure and being outdoors.
Awesome. We have plenty of time now for some Q&A. We do have a question and answer box. So if you have questions, please submit them there. We can answer them live, or if it's something more specific to you, then answer it in the chat. While you do that, also wanted to let you know we have a promo code for those of you who are registered or attending this info session. So you can save $200 off any of our 2025 trips with the code CONSERVE25, and that goes through the end of the weekend, so through Sunday the 9th. We also had a couple questions that were previously submitted, so I'll go ahead and while you're typing those questions in, if you've got any, I will answer those ones that were submitted. The first one, if needed, would my student be able to leave a day early or arrive a day late to any program? Really, that kind of depends on which of the trips you're looking at, depending, since especially these three in particular, they do travel to different locations. That could be kind of complicated from a logistics perspective. So yeah, I would encourage you to give us a call or reach out if you think that might be the situation that you would need to leave a day early or arrive a day late. But yeah, to reach out just from logistics and also kind of a group dynamics perspective. At the end of the course, we're doing kind of some course closings and things like that. Let's see. Are there any college-bound students, and how can my student get credits transferred to her university? Yes, so I'd say the ages really vary between these. They're, again, all offer college credits, but they technically are open to students completing 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. Maybe they skew a little bit towards the older high school since they are college credit bearing. But the credits right now, we have a University of Record, so they'll be issued a transcript through Lesley University right now at the conclusion of the program. And then when they are accepted to university, they would just need to go through the university's kind of transfer credit office, submit that transcript there, and then they will kind of determine how those credits are, how will they'll fulfill their degree requirements, et cetera. Let's see. How do you monitor social behavior of participants?
I can take that, Bethany,
Sure.
if you like.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of the times our instructors are working with students before they come on program. So they have a pretty big chunk of, monitoring that social behavior before, but as well, all of our instructors come to a week-long staff training here in Raleigh ahead of program. So we're kind of able to teach them what it's like to be a Broadreach instructor, how to manage group and social dynamics and, problems that may arise, as well as teaching them Broadreach's safety protocols and what to do if a participant is not cooperating. So our instructors keep a pretty strong eye on that just to make sure that everything is going smoothly and able to have a conversation with them ahead of time. But what's really great about a Broadreach program is at the beginning of the program we set basically community guidelines where everyone gets together and writes how they want the group to grow and behave on program. So everyone is kind of giving suggestions and we write it on the Broadreach flag, which is then posted for everyone to see so we can revisit those things we want from each other later if issues arise.
Yes, thank you so much. Here's a question. Are flights included in the cost? No. So the prices that are the cost that we posted there include everything except for the flights. So that is a separate cost. It also does not include travel insurance and any money you want for souvenirs or things like that. That includes everything else. Right, I don't see any more questions in the question box. So I do want to point out that if you think of other questions, I wrote here, we've got Chelsea and Savannah's email addresses. You can also reach out to brhq@gobroadreach.com or respond to my email. I'll be sending out the recording of this later today. So feel free to just respond to that or to reply to that email if you've got any other questions. We would love to talk to you more about our trips if need be. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.